Hello, welcome back to Prehistoric Companions. I'm Dylan. I teach science, middle school science. I'm a reptile keeper, artist, trying to be a social media influencer, and today I'm going to attempt to make my own calcium. Calcium is going to be an essential part of a lot of reptiles' diets, especially bearded dragons, leopard geckos. Without calcium and proper lighting, these animals could develop what's called metabolic bone disease, which is crippling. It makes them all deformed, their bones become real brittle. They just don't do good when they have this. For years, I've always bought my calcium at Petco, PetSmart, chain pet stores, online, Amazon. But today I'm going to attempt to make my own using recycled chicken eggs. My parents have a good number of chickens and peacocks and these interesting African guineas. We'll have to take a look at them here in a little bit. But they're like African chickens and they lay pretty good eggs too. So I get a ton of free eggs, and today I have a lot of eggs that I'm going to hard boil. I'm going to make some hard boiled eggs, some pickled eggs, egg salad. Then I'm going to take the shells and I'm going to make my own calcium for my reptiles. So let's hop in the kitchen and get this thing started. So I've got all these eggshells, everything's peeled. There must have been at least 100 eggs here. My oven here is out of commission, so I'm gonna have to use my air fryer to bake all these. I'm gonna bake them at like 400 degrees for 20, 25, 30 minutes. Once these are all baked and all the bacteria is cooked out and they're really crumbly kind of, I guess, in consistency, we're gonna throw these in a food processor and really turn it into a fine powder. Here over at my parents' house, got a nice garden. They're growing corn, tomatoes, various squash. That's doing excellent. I always give them my used reptile bedding, put the cocoa chip into the soil. That helps with humidity retention and the plants really seem to like it. Dad's building some peacock enclosures. He's going to start a peacock breeding operation. Earlier I said they got chickens, peacocks, these African guineas. Whoa, holy smokes. We don't eat the peacock eggs, but definitely, I mean, those are pretty beautiful birds, so he's going to incubate those eggs and breed peacocks for pets. Just look how pretty some of these peacocks are. These are like piebald peacocks. And he's got some normal ones, of course. Got all the chickens. Got some of these African guineas over here. This is what these birds look like, if they'll let you get near them. So yeah, these are the African guineas, the African chickens. They lay pretty good eggs too, smaller than chicken eggs. Definitely some interesting looking birds, and they have some pretty interesting sounds too. They're very noisy. Here I have all the ground up eggshells. Now my food processor didn't grind them up into like a fine powder like I was hoping, so I went and picked up one of these, forget what it's called, I don't know what these things are called, but you put a little bit of whatever to grind garlic or herbs, and you grind it into like a fine powder. So I'm gonna take some of my calcium and really grind it to a fine powder. I've prepared some nice mustard greens and cilantro here. We're gonna make up the bearded dragons here a super delicious salad with some nice protein. We have to get some Madagascar hissing nymphs, some dubia roaches. Those are a good staple, especially for bearded dragons or insect-eating reptiles. The dubia roaches are really easy to keep, really easy to care for, and they breed like crazy, and that's a must-have if you're keeping leopard geckos or bearded dragons, insect-eating reptiles. Gotta have dubia roaches. I breed my own so that I can control what they're eating, essentially, you know, give them the same kind of things that I would want my bearded dragons to be eating. That way they're hydrated, they're gut-loaded. And the Madagascar hissers, when they're nymphs, not the adults, there's no way a bearded dragon could eat an adult, and their exoskeleton, that chitin, is way too thick, way too hard for them to process and digest. So, but the smaller Madagascar hissers, they don't have that really hard exoskeleton, so those are good to feed off to your bearded dragons, and they're really high in protein. Same with the dubia roaches, maybe a little bit more fat content than the Madagascar hissers, but high in protein. Their exoskeleton is easy for them to digest. Must-have staple for your insect-eating reptiles diet. We also got some wax worms for the beardies. I scooped up some nice big old hornworms, so they're gonna grub down on those. We're gonna cut up an apple and a red bell pepper, throw in some nice colorful, a little bit of different stuff in here for them. If you're giving your dragons or omnivorous eating reptiles any new foods for the first time, always ask Google if they can eat that. Hey Siri, can bearded dragons eat cilantro? Cilantro is actually an excellent herb for bearded dragons. Nutritional components include antioxidants, which prevent inflammation, vitamins A and C, which are key for growth, a healthy immune system, vision, reproduction, and organ and tissue maintenance and repair. Can bearded dragons eat avocado? No! Bearded dragons should not eat avocados because they are toxic and can seriously injure or kill them. Avocados should never be fed to a bearded dragon. They have a high amount of oxalic acid, which can be fatal to bearded dragons if in very high doses. A small amount of avocado could make the bearded dragon ill, while large amounts over time could result in death for the lizard. Oxalic acid? Not sure how to pronounce that, but always ask Google or do some research before you just start feeding your animals anything. Oh, and then I also got this stuff from Arcadia, Botanical Food Sprinkle. Contains pre and probiotics, all natural, non-toxic, encourages feeding. There's contains probiotic, whole leaf plants, and bee pollen to ensure great health. And then to throw a little bit more diversity, I'll throw in some raspberries and blackberries because those again have antioxidants. And you know, I don't give my bearded dragons a whole lot of fruit, but it does add some color and it makes their salad look more pretty and more enticing for them to want to eat, especially their greens. I finally chopped the cilantro and mustard greens. I mix it up between collard greens and turnip greens, but this time I went with mustard, and I finally chopped it up so that because they're really good at picking out what they want and what they don't want. So whenever they're eating like bits of things that they do want, some of the smaller bits of salad will stick to that, and they'll end up accidentally eating the salad, the stuff that's good for them. And of course I made me a nice morning smoothie with all the healthy stuff in it too, so cheers. Start by chopping up this bell pepper here. Get rid of that part with the seeds. Throw that in compost, actually. I recycle everything. Whatever parts I don't use go into compost. Or I feed to the insects. Cut these into progressively smaller sections. Once I've cut them, all these long strips, then I go opposite directions to cut nice bite-sized pieces. Now let's chop up this apple. Add that. Now I'm gonna add some multivitamins here, give a good sprinkle of this. And then we'll go ahead and grind up some of our calcium here. So as you can see, there's some quite large chunks in here. So we're gonna take a couple tablespoons of this stuff, throw it in our little grinding bowl and grind it up to a nice fine powder. 1 tablespoon will do maybe at least 2. Pressing down, just doing this like rotating motion. Definitely doesn't take long. I already see like really nice powder consistency. So here's more what I'm talking about, that kind of consistency. Still like a couple of larger flakes and chunks, but very powdery at this point. Okay, we have a nice smorgasbord of bugs here. Let me show you what we got. So we got some nice big juicy hornworms, waxworms, couple Madagascar hissers, dubia roaches. We've got some super worms in here, so it's very important to diversify your reptiles' diet, to give them a bunch of different kind of bugs. But of course the dubias and the Madagascars, I'd say those are the staple, whereas the waxworms, the super worms, the hornworms, those are more like a treat to only be given like once a week or on a bi-weekly basis or once a month. You do your research. Sprinkle in some of our calcium here, some multivitamins. Then I'm gonna put in some of this bee pollen, 100% pure bee pollen. A little sprinkle of this stuff here. Take the rest of our calcium here and go ahead and add that to our nice salad mix. Give this a good stir, good mix here. Get it all nicely, evenly distributed. All right, then we're gonna go ahead and add some raspberries, blackberries, and a little bit of carrot to add a little bit more pizzazz to the salad here, and a little bit more flavors, a little more color. And that one more good little mix here. Very beautiful, delicious looking salad. Another cool thing that I got in the mail recently, boom, got my passport. I'm ready to go start seeing places, so hopefully it is a goal of mine in the future to travel places. I really want to go to Africa, I really want to go to Australia, so who knows, these things are good for 10 years, so hopefully soon here we'll be getting some traveling. These guys got some really nice salad, a good even mixture of bugs. The hornworms, the dubias, waxworms, Madagascar hisser. Well, and that's going to be a wrap for today's video. So hopefully you found today's video interesting, and now you know something else that you could do with your eggshells instead of just chucking them. You know, you could use them, grind them into a powder and put them in water and fertilize your plants with them. You could throw them in a compost bin and make soil, and that's great for your garden. There's a lot of applications for chicken eggs and their shells, so check it out. But anyways, thank you guys very much for supporting me and my companions. Drop me a comment, let me know what you guys think. Check out the other stuff I got in my video description below. And with all that being said, me and my critters will see you guys in the next video.